May 25, 1982. Two formations of Argentine aircraft streak low over the Falkland Islands, embarking on what might become a suicide mission. Captain Pablo Carvalho leads these aging and adequately equipped A-4 Skyhawk jets laden with explosive ordnance. Their objective: eliminate the British naval vessels HMS Coventry and HMS Broadsword. Argentine forces have seized the Falkland Islands, known to them as the Malvinas, and neutralizing these warships is crucial for maintaining their occupation. Argentine intelligence indicates two British vessels have advanced closer to the islands to support ground operations. These islands provide cover, allowing the attackers to approach undetected by British radar systems. Entering their operational radius, maintain low altitude at all costs, commands Carvalho. The Skyhawks fly at minimum safe elevation, following terrain contours as they penetrate enemy radar coverage. Both British ships carry sophisticated anti-aircraft missiles and powerful radar systems that have previously devastated Argentine aircraft. Remaining at low altitude represents their only chance to avoid detection. Aboard HMS Coventry, Captain David Hartdyke maintains his crew at heightened readiness. British Special Forces have alerted him to recent Argentine sorties, but he remains unaware his vessel is the current target. Then radar screens confirm his deepest concerns. 4 contacts, bearing 225, range 30 miles. Hartdyke immediately orders battle stations. Alarms reverberate across both vessels as the formidable Sea Dart surface-to-air missiles orient toward the threat. Meanwhile, the Skyhawk formation approaches Pebble Island, maintaining extreme low-level flight. Bourbon Island ahead, maintain altitude and follow my lead, transmits Carvalho. Through expert airmanship, the Argentine pilots vanish from British radar screens. Aboard Coventry, operators report contacts lost over Pebble Island. This confirms Hartdyke's worst fears. The island's proximity places the aircraft inside the Sea Dart's minimum engagement range, leaving perhaps one firing opportunity if fortunate. Hartdyke contacts Broadsword. Broadsword, report your status. The companion vessel carries shorter-range Seawolf missiles, better suited for close-quarters combat. Carvalho guides his formation using land features for concealment. His aircraft lack radar and warning systems, but at 10 nautical miles, the British ships become visible, initiating attack. Good fortune, Captain. Carvalho and his wingman, Lieutenant Carlos Rinque, accelerate to maximum velocity while maintaining wave-top height. On Coventry's bridge, the two Skyhawks suddenly appear on radar. 2 hostiles, bearing 192, low altitude. Complicating matters, a British Harrier jump jet reports its position within the weapons engagement zone. Captain, friendly aircraft 20 miles out. With both Allied and enemy aircraft in the same airspace, Hartdyke makes an instantaneous decision. Redirect the Harrier, engage missiles. But weapons operators cannot achieve target lock. The Argentine pilots fly so low, their aircraft create salt spray on their canopies, confounding radar systems. Aboard Coventry, tension mounts as the enemy closes distance while Sea Dart missiles repeatedly fail to acquire targets. Hartdyke experiences growing dread, relying on Broadsword's Seawolf systems to intercept the threat. On Broadsword, operators visually identify the approaching Skyhawks. The aircraft fly so closely spaced that Seawolf radar registers them as a single target. As the system achieves lock, the contact separates into 2 distinct targets, overloading the missile guidance computer. Missiles non-responsive. Restart the system. But time has expired. Coventry lookouts spot the Skyhawks visually, triggering urgent warnings. As a final defensive measure, Coventry's deck guns open fire, joined by personal weapons as sailors discharge small arms across the deck. Carvalho observes shell splashes and tracer rounds progressively refining their aim. The target ship lies directly ahead. Victory seems attainable, but incoming fire intensifies. Shift to the alternative target, he orders, redirecting toward Broadsword. Both aircraft veer away from Coventry's guns, thundering past its deck as they align for their bombing run. The Skyhawks release their 1,000-pound bombs, which impact the sea surface and skip across waves like stones. Broadsword crew members watch in horror as two massive projectiles bounce toward them. One bomb sinks harmlessly short of the vessel, but the second bomb strikes Broadsword's side, deflects upward, erupts through the deck, and tumbles into the ocean without detonating. Garbile experiences bitter disappointment, but the engagement continues. The second flight, First Lieutenant Mariano Ángel Velasco and Ensign Jorge Nelson Barrionuevo, now approach carrying smaller but more reliable 250-kilogram bombs. Aboard Coventry, radar detects all four contacts. Hartdike orders an immediate starboard turn to enable missile engagement against all threats. Coventry's missile operators lock onto Velasco's aircraft as Sea Dart launchers rotate toward the target. Fire! A brilliant flash illuminates Coventry's deck as the missile launches amid smoke and thunder. Simultaneously, Velasco and his wingman descend to near-wave altitude, disappearing from British radar screens. The missile loses guidance and continues straight ahead. Sailors watch helplessly as the weapon streaks harmlessly away. Velasco observes the missile passing 500 meters to his right, but maintains focus on the rapidly approaching HMS Coventry. Meanwhile, Broadsword personnel frantically reboot missile systems as the Skyhawks close distance. Crew members anxiously monitor blank screens in this race between approaching aircraft and system reactivation. Activate already. Displays illuminate as systems return online. Seawolf radar detects the Skyhawks, launchers rotate, and targeting lock is achieved. But then HMS Coventry maneuvers directly into the firing line. Damn, Coventry's blocking our shot. In their urgency to cover multiple threats, the vessels have obstructed the only functional missile system. Broadsword's captain attempts evasive maneuvering to clear the firing solution, but the window has closed. Velasco and Barrionuevo continue their bombing run. Aboard Coventry, Hartdike orders all weapons to engage independently. Cannons and machine guns discharge toward the incoming aircraft. The primary 4.5-inch naval gun fires toward the sea. Crew members realize the targeting systems are misaligned. Simultaneously, the 20mm anti-aircraft gun jams. Personnel desperately attempt repairs as Argentine aircraft close the distance. Sailors across the vessel discharge personal weapons toward the attackers. The ocean surface churns with impacting projectiles as every available British weapon engages the advancing Skyhawks. Brace! 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 Echoes across ship intercoms as officers command crew members to take cover. Personnel dive for protection, awaiting inevitable impact. Velasco observes the enemy vessel filling his windshield and depresses the trigger. His A-4's 20mm cannons unleash ammunition across the ship's deck and superstructure. He maintains fire until releasing his bomb load. The ordnance descends deliberately before slamming into HMS Coventry with tremendous force, penetrating the hull with two distinct impacts. But no explosion follows. The second Skyhawk thunders overhead without releasing its bombs due to weapon system failure. Precious seconds elapse. Crew members begin rising cautiously, exchanging confused and fearful glances. A damage report begins transmitting through the intercom, abruptly interrupted when the bombs detonate. Two catastrophic explosions convulse HMS Coventry. Argentine pilots observe triumphantly as smoke engulfs the vessel. "We've done it! Target destroyed! Long live the nation!" The first explosion beneath the bridge creates a massive hull breach and destroys the computer center. Fire propagates through passageways before erupting into the operations room where personnel and Captain Hartdike were stationed. The second detonation in the forward engine room ignites an intense fire while disabling electrical and propulsion systems. Hartdike regains consciousness surrounded by smoke and devastation. Screams permeate the air from indiscernible sources. Staggering upright, he recognizes the vessel listing severely. Attempts to use the intercom prove futile. The system is inoperative. He must evacuate. Hartdike navigates through smoke-filled corridors while the ship groans and cracks beneath him. He miraculously locates an exit, emerging into the South Atlantic's crisp air. On deck, he anticipates chaos, but instead witnesses impeccably professional evacuation procedures. His crew, thoroughly trained for this scenario, executes emergency protocols. Personnel rescue comrades from smoke-obscured compartments while providing medical assistance on deck. Others prepare survival rafts and assist with flotation equipment. Hartdike feels the deck tilting progressively as the hull lists. Disoriented and injured, he sits on the increasingly inclined hull while crew members abandon ship. Hartdike remains alone on Coventry's inverted hull. He casts a final gaze across the smoldering warship. Having fulfilled his command responsibilities, he finally enters the last survival raft as the final crew member to depart the vessel. Thanks to British naval professionalism, 170 survivors would be recovered from the water by HMS Broadsword and British helicopters. Tragically, 19 crew members perished during the engagement. All Argentine pilots successfully returned to their base. While they achieved their tactical objective, this victory could not alter the war's ultimate outcome.